Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Terminus. I'm watching ReZero right now, season 3. I'm a light novel reader. Watched arc 5 and 6, which is the two arcs which are gonna be in this season. And I wanted to check out the OP&ED. Now, I have seen that in combination with the episode reaction that I've done already. So this is not a first watch. This is more like a second watch right after I've seen the episode, and we're gonna watch it. We're gonna listen to it. Hopefully, there's not gonna be trouble with content ID. Otherwise, you're probably not gonna hear the sounds of it, and you're just gonna see me swing along to it as it goes. And then we're gonna go into it. We're gonna look at the lyrics. We're gonna look at the shots, right? So if you feel like this is spoilers to you, maybe don't watch this, right? Because everything that is in the OP we're going to look into and we're going to talk a little bit about. And obviously I'm not going to spoil you on any light novel content. It's been a while since I've read the light novel as well, right? So I have like a healthy distance where I can just shove that away and be like, okay, let's look at what's on the screen. But let's get this started. ReZero OP, which is, I think it's called Reweave by, I don't even know. I think MYTH ROID, right? Possible. The ones who did like Realize and who did, I don't know, Pandemonium, whatever, the second OP like of the first season of ReZero. And I think even the first OP of the first season. But I'm not sure, right? Alright. ReZero, season 3, OP starts in a 3, 2, 1. Bam. I do love how this is the creepy music, right? Like there's some creepy tones going on. I'm sorry. I'm going down a little bit. And we're walking, right? The squad. Seeing everything out here a little bit. The beautiful city as well. Subaru looking back at Emilia. She's isolated here. Odo and Garfield together. Quick flash to Satella. And these are the deaths and all of that. That's back in season 2 and everything. That's cool. The hand coming in. All the characters that are not here right now. And we flash the city is ruined. Serious swinging is insane. And we have the two sides, and then we drop it into the action. Have a little bit of a taste of what's about to come in terms of fighting. This is an amazing shot. And Reinhardt just being absolutely overpowered here. Big door, big sword. And we have like the pendant to season 2. And then we stop and rewind it all. And he's determined. Subaru's determined as fuck, holy shit. Alright, let's walk this back and actually go frame by frame, go from the beginning on, right? We are gonna mute the sound. We're gonna speed it up by 2 to 1.9, right? Around 2 times speed. And we're gonna go through it. Let me look. We're panning into the city, and it's a really cool shot because we see like it's almost like a cross, right? Like with all of the sin and the religious imagery is really cool, and we do see like it's really in the middle of the lake, and it's absolutely fascinating how this city is built. Like Tape had a real cool stroke of creative genius here in just constructing the city. I do wonder if there's actually any real life cities that are similar to this. Like we've drawn the similarities to Venice, right? Venezia in Italy, but it's not the same, right? Venezia is at the coast, and yes, it has a lot of canals. Yes, it has similar to that one, but it's not like it doesn't have the sun shape. That's one of the things. Like one of the cities where I'm close to where I was born originally, which is Karlsruhe, is kind of propped up like Versailles, surrounded by like in the very middle there's a palace basically of the ruler back then. And the thing about that is they built the entire city kind of like going out like sun rays basically from the sun, and the very middle is like the palace with like the palace gardens and botanic gardens and everything else, and then it's like building on that. Like the streets are all going out in all directions like sun rays, basically. And this is what that reminds me of, kind of. Really cool. Yeah, and we have the hand in hand with Betty and Subaru going from season 2 on season 3, right? The theme, and we have the squad, right, looking at the beautiful backdrop of the city, and then we're going up into the sky. And then we have the different factions rolling, right? We have Cruz's faction here with like Felix and Wilhelm on both sides, but we only, like, for a second we only hint at them by showing their legs and whatnot, and then we zoom in, like, Felix and Wilhelm. What a contrast, right? Our stoic person and our absolutely goofy, lovable, sometimes trolly Felix. And then we do have Cruz, very determined, shows pretty well how she is from a character point of view. We do have Anastasia with a slightly, at least it feels like a slightly tilted angle on her shot, and we don't show her eyes, which is a very interesting thing. It kind of symbolizes, I guess, how we still don't know how Anastasia works, right? What is her true intentions? Is she a masterful, mean, right, devious manipulator, or is she more on the level of, yes, she's shrewd, she has her merchant stuff, but she means well on some level, right? Is there nefarious motives behind her or not, right? We don't show the eyes, we don't show the emotions, right? We don't trust her, and the devious smile on her face is obviously gonna reinforce that. We have the crew, right? Her Hoshin company with Ricardo in the back being like, ah! Julius, of course, Julius is like, look at me, right? Cocky as fuck. And then we have the goofballs, Mimi and Tive and Hitaro, I think it was. Been a while since I heard these names. And she's like, but yeah, that fits, right? One eye closed, one eye open, being kind of smirky, right? Being kind of coy with that. And then we have the other crew pulling up, right? Felt not high enough for the shot, and Reinhardt only the lower part of the face with the mouth showing. He has like a courteous, polite smile, right? Like almost a diplomat smile on his face. And then we have the more tough looking, right, thugs right behind him. Those LA thugs that did attack Subaru. We have Reinhardt from behind, looking not as cocky as Julius, but proud and optimistic, right? And somewhat nonchalant, right? Like a hero, basically. But we do have a lot of open space on the right side of Reinhardt, which is very interesting because he doesn't take in the shot. He kind of takes a side of the shot and leaves the rest open for whoever wants to fill the shot. We have Felt, which is right, that kind of that upside down shot, and the smirk is kind of very much in line with her adventurous spirit, with her being a little bit of a rough rat, basically, and just not being as formal, I guess, right? And also being somebody who's kind of flipping a situation on its head sometimes. We have the up to down shot of Priscilla and her crew, which is very interesting. I do wonder what that's supposed to symbolize, right? Up down shots oftentimes I do feel are like almost strategic, right? That you have more of an overview over the situation, but those are not far off shot. This is more of a close up shot. So I do wonder what the meaning behind this is, especially with like the light underneath her. I guess we do know, like, have a couple of hints that she might have some affiliation to light magic, but we're not sure. Al, absolutely baller shot. I love that, right? That is like a profile pic in the making. Al is a cool character. I love him. I hope we see more of him this season. Priscilla in her usual, like, very cocky, arrogant smile, side profile, right? Behind the fan, kind of hiding what she really means, right? Keeping people away from her, right? Creating like a separation between the face and whoever is looking at her. We have like a couple of shots of the city of like Beako and Subaru. The interesting thing is, like, we zoom in then in the same scene, and Subaru's turning around and he's looking behind him, and behind him on like supposedly an ivory tower is sitting Emilia, isolated, right? Hair blowing in the wind, almost contemplative. She has a positive mood. You do see her smiling slightly, but right, looking down at the city, enjoying it, but she's looking over then, and then she's surprised by something, right? So I do feel like almost on a metaphorical level, it is like her fate her fate is kind of in the wind right now. While her attitude is positive and she has more of a foundation, maybe that's what the tower is for, right? But she's also isolated. That is also what the tower is for. She's alone on a tower on the peak, right? I guess it's lonely at the top, something along those lines as well, right? In terms of like the visual metaphors. We do have Otto and Garfield being an unlikely duo, which we know already, right? They have a similar status when it comes to supporting characters among the Emilia camp. And we do have like Garfield being more like very chilled in the way he's sitting, right? Very relaxed, while Otto is just more straight up. That fits his like merchant job and whatever we're going to talk about. And also Garfield is like the front profile, while Otto is the back profile. So Otto takes a back seat, I guess, in terms of like the story for now. And Garfield has more pressing issues that we've already established in episode 1 partially. And he does have somewhat of a like maybe suspicious expression on his face, like he's suspicious about something, or he's like not sure about the situation, and he's obviously, as always, looking aggressive. But Otto is looking back, so he plays a part, right? He notices things happening, he helps us. We have a quick flash of Satella from season 2, and then we go into all of season 2, basically all of the deaths of season 2. And it's really cool that this is Emilia's crystal, because we used Emilia's crystal in season 2 as well as one of the main motives of the season, right? Like a cover art motive was her crystal. So it's really cool that we reflect all of Subaru's deaths and all of like the previous events happening in her crystal. And then we have the crack, which is Puck is not longer here, right? That is what happened in season 2, the crystal cracked. We have a short view of Liliana, right? From down up, which means like she's being idolized, I think. We have the quick flash of the hand, which can't do without that one, right? The thing I noticed now, the hand, in season 1 and 2, it didn't have the nails. Very interesting that we're now showing the nails of the hand, right? It feels a lot more sharp in a way. We do have Frederica and Roswell here in like a sunlit evening setting, which is like, and he's looking out the window like he's not involved in the thing at the moment, right? Like he's just watching over them from afar, looking what happens. We have Ram, which is still at home and is not in the city. We have Rem, quick flash to Rem, very quick flash to Rem, which to me symbolizes like, yeah, not that important right now, but very much in our minds, right? We do have supposedly like the woman that very much looks like Garfield's mother. And here's a figure on the left side, right? Like an admiral almost looking figure, soldier or whatever. Like it looks more like a sea admiral or whatever. And this guy is maybe going together with her. We don't know. Maybe it's the husband. We do have the merchant trade company with like different people joking around, and one or two of them looking like, what is this fucking conversation? And this dude kind of being like the rich guy who was into Liliana. That is a beautiful shot that we like have that kind of washed out not in focus shot, and we're going in with the two holding hands and them just running underneath the laundry lines of the city that we've seen in the first episode, and then we glitch away in a similar way as to what we had in some of the OPs of season 1, where everything kind of negative image suddenly, and we kind of flash suddenly like bodies hanging everywhere. Not bodies, maybe it's just the laundry, right? Or rubble and the laundry hanging everywhere. Yeah, right. This shot. And then we look at somewhat of maybe an administrative building. That's how it looks, right? Like a official state business building. And suddenly it's ruined, right? It has a big hole inside of it. And we have like a beautiful city shot, and suddenly we glitch over to everything being clouded over and dark and everything being shattered, basically, and a lot of damage being here, blood flowing suddenly. We do have fire, right? What is that? A fiery book, maybe Roswell's book, right? A reference to Roswell's burned book, and a reference to Elsa, who appeared to Garfield in episode 1, and she's smiling deviously. I love this shot of her because it's like tilted, and it's supposed to make us feel uneasy. And it also shows more of her, right? You can use more of the frame by showing her sideways. As opposed to if we would be showing her straight on, only the face would fit, or we need to make her smaller to actually, right? And basically have a shot from farther away. We do have like some kind of church and like an apple. Not sure what that means yet. We have a lot of crystals, which is maybe related to our like merchant dude. We do have a shot of whatchamacall the former sword saint Theresia Vanastrea. We do have a couple of weird devices, almost looks like a radio or something, and we have Sirius the goofball just swinging back and forth on her chains. What the fuck? Gluttony looking up, smiling deviously, but somebody else being actually in the water surface reflection that looks kind of like Gluttony, but not entirely. Maybe disguise or something, right? We have these bastards, whatever, right? Looks like this is another leader of the witch cult, either an archbishop or something else, like a high tier person in the witch cult, and a lot of witch cultists and a dragon. What? Hello? We have a dragon? And then we have Regulus with supposedly his servants, I would assume, his female servants. And he's just smiling deviously. We have the hero side shown on by light. Priscilla, Ricardo, Wilhelm, Krusch, Julius, Subaru, Emilia, Garfield, and Reinhardt. I would assume those are all the combatants, probably, right? All the people who are within the action. And then we have, like, in that weird Satella, purple, witchy light, we do have whoever this is. We do have Sirius, we do have two Gluttonies, and we do have Regulus standing there. So there's a lot of trouble coming our way. Garfield going in on the dragon for some reason. Really, really nice impact shot here. Boom! Wilhelm doing his flippity flips. I do love that. I can't wait to see his sword animation. I always like that, right? The way like sword fighting and everything is done, like from an animation standpoint. There's so much you can do with dynamic shots, and we've seen a couple of them with Wilhelm and the Whale or Wilhelm and the Witch Cult, which were really cool in season 1. So I do hope to see more of that, right? Swords clinging, a lot of sparks flying. The usual like rotation shot that you do when you have two people with a sword interlocking and you see they're at a stalemate, so you rotate around to keep up that momentum that they upheld when they were clashing into each other. I can't explain why it works, but it works really well when it's going for like animation stuff. Ricardo coming down with the sun and basically removing any kind of sight from you by his sword dropping in. And we do have somebody who has like dual blades apparently, and he's like, Ricardo obviously has his greatsword. I do love greatswords. They're so unrealistic oftentimes, right? Because you have like chunks of a sword, and normally no human being or even like super strength human being could be able to hold that chunk of iron. But it's such a cool sight, right? To have somebody two hands and like a huge piece of metal and just going in with force. It feels so visceral when you see fights like that. Obviously, it's also cool if you have like a lot of small swords or like sharp like fencing swords or whatever, right? Rapiers, those are all great. Those are great especially with the movements they come with, which are very quick and agile, and you can kind of do a lot with the camera. And with the great swords, you can do a lot with the camera too, though, right? Because you move them and you kind of like use the camera in order to try to make the people really feel the weight that is behind these weapons. Krusch and Julius going for supposedly Gluttony and her brother or whatever. You have Krusch coming in with her like 100-yard strike, and Julius with his Spirit Knight stuff. This is the centerpiece of the entire fucking OP. First of all, tilted angle, really cool, really creative. We do have like the city elevation level that we see in the back, and then we have like a dozen people just all attacking Priscilla at the same time, and she's not worried at all. And we see these like red energy lines, flames coming from her, and then she's just supposedly exploding everything around her, and it looks so amazing with the keyframes that are going in here. And she looks absolutely devious here, right? Look at that shit. That is crisp. I can't wait to see the full thing. We do see whoever that is spawning lions from her arms. Hello. And apparently Reinhardt and the snake. Okay, apparently Reinhardt fighting whoever that is, and he is obviously unharmed, right? There's this aura coming from me, just with his courteous smile and whatnot. And we do see the Emilia fight that we saw. I think this is what we saw this episode. Possible that we see a little bit more. Look at the speed. right? But that is really cool action, right? Her quick action, deflecting all of these, right? With the chain being right in our face and like all of the elements of the particles flying, that is absolutely cool. And the big door that is behind her, kind of like just imposing. So it's not the same frame, right? It's not the tower, but it could be a representation. It doesn't necessarily have to be an actual scene that happens. I think some of these might be actual scenes that happen in the show, and some of these might just be representation of what's happening, right? With not really having it. But yeah, she has such a huge, like, the huge sword that she spawns. I do really like that ability that she's using now, that she's not like just firing crystals like she did in season 1, right? That she's now has developed a specialty, basically, where she's like, okay, let me summon different kinds of weapons for different situations and actually learn to fight with them, which is super cool, because you wouldn't think she would be that kind of person, right? You'd think she'd be the magician being in the back, being like, but that's Subaru at this point, right? With Betty and whatnot. That's Subaru, he's the support, and she's the one who is like up front, right? And she takes that role, supposedly, because Subaru is not a knight's knight. Do love that with the impact dust that is coming in, and dust cloud coming in and just obscuring our vision to go into a new frame. And the new frame is like a kind of a similarity to what we had with Beako and Subaru at the end of season 2, where they made their contract and then they came crashing into the rabbit scene. Right? We do have that transport and right into our face, and we do see the butterfly eye as the last shot. And then we have Regulus, right? Fish Islands, threatening, kind of, not completely, but threatening, cocky, holding Amelia in his arms. Right, and we're going in, and this smile is becoming more devious as we get closer, and Beako and Subaru are going in, and before they reach him, apparently they almost get like frozen in time. At least that's how it looks, right? Look at that. Right, they're just frozen in time, and then there's a glitch, and supposedly maybe he dies, right? And you see Regulus's eyes, Beako's eyes. You go back through all of that, right? They do like the highlight reel backwards, like with Jujutsu Kaisen, like the second OP of season 1, where it's like the guitar strike and then everything goes back. And I love that. I really like that, because it's very thematic with our Return by Death ability, and it's the way it's getting displayed all the time, right? Return by Death is getting displayed like this in the show throughout the entire show, and we're going just back through the entire OP all the way to the beginning when we're looking at the cityscape, and it almost looks like, yeah, there's like sun rays shining onto their hair, and he's like realizing he just came back, and then there's this face of determination and the wind blowing through his hair. Really cool. And that's it. That's the OP. Holy shit, really cool. Okay, we're gonna look at the lyrics for a second. I don't know how long this will take, but I do have a lyric video up right. All right, we do have a lyric video up here. I don't know how good the lyrics are actually in terms of like the translation, but we're gonna look at it anyway. Whoop, sorry about that. I'm gonna listen to it. We're gonna stop here and there, and if like content ID is gonna go in, we're gonna probably just, we're gonna probably just mute it at that point in time. So I do apologize if it's muted at certain places. By Konomi Suzuki, which is, like I said, also she done a lot of intros before for ReZero especially. Just as words bind people together, just as the present is tied to memories, right? Okay, there's a lot, right? Memories, no, we do have like bonds, people being tied together. I like that, because we have all of these people that we really cherish. A world that should be free. The truth is tangled and clouded, emotions drawn together, distorting, which is very in line with what we see with Sirius, right? Like the emotions drawn together, distorting, right? Distorting emotions, putting everybody on the same emotion. Tangled and clouded, like the city soon, without anyone knowing the reason, struggling and flailing. Flail, very funny. But yeah, with a twisted gate clinging to a thread of hope. I love that. clinging to a thread of hope. That's how ReZero basically feels, right? Like all of ReZero felt for a long time, clinging to a thread of hope. Even if it's a story on the verge of unraveling, holy shit. Like, try to really feel that line. Try to really put yourself into that line. A story on the verge of unraveling. What that suggests is, I kind of named my ReZero Season 3 Episode 1 reaction. The title that I had for that was, "This is where ReZero really begins." I changed it later on. I'm going to be like, "This is going to be absolutely insane," which also applies, but it really is, kind of, right? We had our Season 1, which was our introduction to the world. A lot of cool stuff happening there, a lot of like character progression happening already there, but also starting to build relationships with characters, getting to know characters, right? Establishing who has what place in the world and where we want to go and who we're fighting for, really, and why we're fighting for them. With the conclusion of like episode 24 with like the I love you and everything, and like the almost the self-sacrifice, waking up, and then like that one scene that's kind of parroting the Rem scene in Arc 2, where Rem is like falling for Subaru, and this one where actually he is like, right, I wanna help you, and all of these things. And Season 2 was mostly just us being confined in our own space. It was us making peace with the fact that our past happened, both for Emilia and Subaru. Subaru early on, right, with this brilliant, masterful episode 4 of Season 2 that we had, which is probably one of the best episodes of anime to date, of like Subaru and his parents and him just thinking about all of these things that were going on inside of him before he even got reincarnated, right? All of these issues that he had, all of the stuff that he was struggling with. And then we went over and talked about all of these issues that Emilia had, right? The memories she had blocked out either by her own, but also kind of by magical means through Pandora and Puck and whatever, right? Until she's ready for it. And we built up our camp, right? We built up our reputation. We recruited a lot of new people. We got Roswell into the fold. We got Ram into the fold for real, right? Properly, where she was like, "This is the first time I really respect you, Emilia." And we got our act together, and now we're here as a united front, right? With Otto, with Garth, with Subaru, with Emilia, with Betty. And all of them are out there right now. We forged our bonds. We started our journey, basically. Our journey as a team, as like a family, found family, basically. And now we are all here, right? All the candidates, all of the major political players, all of that stuff. And supposedly there's danger on the horizon with the witch cult, with like the main antagonist of the show in general. And now we are at the precipice of this unraveling of the story. We're gonna find out more stuff. There's gonna be more and more mysteries that get brought up, that not all of them will have answers, but some of them might, right? Some of them might have hints of answers. There's gonna be plots resolved, but also more trouble on the horizon, right? This show is about to unravel. And this is how I see it as well. This is how I saw it before even season 3 started, that I was like, yes, when I read the arcs, when I was like getting into this arc that we're watching right here, I was like, yeah, this is ReZero really, really starting for real. But yeah, a powerful line. Tracing the spiral along thousands of deadly lines, even if fate seems to break. It's returned by death, right? I don't need to say much, right? This is self-explanatory. It's lyrical. It's very beautiful. Twisting it together, weaving a future. That's what we call living, right? Bad things happen. They always happen. Bad things happen. We have to deal with them, right? Not everything is gonna go our way. There's gonna be obstacles in our path. Threats are gonna unravel, and we need to catch them and get them back in and weave them together to the tapestry that is the life that we want to live. Connecting the fragments of causality. strumming that tense thread. The fragments of causality, right? The events that are about to happen, influencing them in a way that has a favorable outcome for us, that we can be happy in, right? Looking to a future that we can be happy in, and then strumming that tenth thread, which is almost reminding me of a guitar, which Liliana, I guess that would be an interesting, probably, I would assume that in that, at that point in the OP, we're actually showing Liliana, which then is strumming that 10th thread, which is like playing a melody on those threads that are our life's path. Sing a song for unyielding hope, right? And that is what Subaru and Emilia ultimately stand for, right? At least in my opinion, that is what they stand for. Is there naivete in both of them? Yes, 100%. Like, Krush is a lot more down to earth, a lot more realistic. Anastasia is a lot more realistic when it comes to our business sense and being able to, right? Also cynicism maybe as well. But there's this naive, untainted optimism within both Subaru and Emilia. Subaru, despite dying so many times, despite living through the most horrible shit. And Emilia, despite being persecuted, right? Despite being discriminated against, despite receiving all of this bad juju, all of these people looking down on her. Both of them have this unbridled, unyielding hope. Even as it frays, even as it tangles, weave it now, weave the light, right? And we are the light side, kinda. Guitar solo, nice, I like it. And the second verse, just as threads intertwine with each other so that eventually everything makes sense, right? In the beginning, not everything makes sense, right? It's all confusing, it's blending together. And you don't know how to fix it without realizing it at any time. The everyday moments we laughed together, the painful yesterdays when we clashed. Right, and that is what we fight for, right? That is 70% of episode 1. All that we fight for right here, it is right here. Look at that. The dynamics, the banter, the friendliness, the warm feelings between one another. All we've been through together as well, right? That binds us together. The painful yesterdays when we clashed. The moments we laughed together today, right? The everyday moments. This is what we live for, right? If we don't show that, if that is not part of the show, part of the series, would the viewer really be as attached to the characters, as attached to them being okay, right? As attached to, right? And anxious about possible character deaths and whatnot. If these moments didn't happen, and I would say no. We thought we were choosing to move forward, but we were being chosen, okay? That is very interesting. It's very interesting, right? You do think you make the decision to move forward, but you're kind of, the decision is kind of almost made for you. We faced the emerging trials once again, right? Season 3, let's go. Reflecting perfectly, even in the eyes of thousands, even in the beautiful starry sky. Oh, that reminds me of something. Oh, what was the line? Ooh. Like, I think one of the titles of a season 2 episode when Emilia was facing the future trial was Reflection on the Water's Surface. And we do also have a similar, I can't think of it. Maybe one of you can let me know in the comments. There is a line in this arc, right? Maybe even the entire arc is named that way. A title for this arc, which is called something blah blah. I think Ripples on the Water's Surface or something. I don't know if it's that or if that is the title of the episode, right? It was something with heroes or ripples or stars. I don't know, and that kind of reminds me of that sentence here, with the beautiful starry sky and reflected in 1,000 eyes. And I do love, like, our focus on the eyes in ReZero in general. We do have that in Monogatari as well, but in a different way. Monogatari has that very nice play with reflections in many ways, but ReZero here has a very glossy eye surface reflection that is unique to them, I feel. And it's really beautiful how they show that impactful emotional moments with that. The era unravels and collapses, yet still we wove tomorrow. Ooh. I feel like that should be the era unraveled and collapsed, yet still we wove tomorrow, right? So we're at the end of an era, at the beginning of a new one, right? And everything was about to collapse. It's a dark blot in our history. Things are dire. People don't know how it's gonna continue. And then as the era ends, we weave a new era for tomorrow. Connecting the tangled threads of the 11 dimensions, untangle them, trace them. Wonder if 11 dimension has a meaning, right? Standing maybe for 11 specific characters, or right, because it's not 11 sins, I know that. Interesting. Maybe somebody has an idea on that. And follow the path of the footsteps that change the world, right? Kind of follow in the footsteps of those that came before you, that changed the world, that helped the world, that were standing as pillars out there. Even as it traces, even as it tangles, weave it now, weave the light, and we have that repeat, right? Cool. Right, almost like a chorus. I don't know if it's a chorus, but it is a repeat. It's a repeat sentence in the song for sure. Let the vertical thread carry fate. Let the horizon thread carry destiny. Vertical thread carry fate. Let the horizontal thread carry destiny. So we are. The road ahead is carrying fate. We move along the road of fate. And the horizon that we look at is carrying the thread of our destiny, right? We're looking upon the horizon. That is our destiny. That is our goal. Even if weak, we still stand and face it. Let us be blessed. Blessed like Amelia with her spirits, right? Tracing the spiral along thousands of deadly lines. Even if fate seems to break. Again, repeat. It shapes who I am, the will to be one. Okay, the last one I'm not sure. It shapes who I am. That is powerful. It shapes who I am, right? Us tangling us tangling the threads together. Us making a new tomorrow, weaving a new tomorrow. It shapes who I am, and I shape what tomorrow will be. The will to be one. Not sure what that really means. I can't make perfect sense of that. The melody paints dreams and illusions, even the meaningless fantasies. The melody paints dreams and illusions. Dreams and illusions are normally something bad. Illusions are something bad, right? Like fearful illusions that make us afraid or whatever. But dreams are something beautiful, right? Something we strive towards. Even meaningless fantasies. And meaningless fantasies can be both, right? But it can be wistful, right? So like little ramblings. The thin prayer I kept believing is none other than resolve. And maybe that's from Subaru's point of view, right? He keeps praying for resolve, right? And we talked about resolve in Frieren last time, I think, right? How it is resolve and not courage necessarily that is carrying us into danger. Despite the fear that we have, despite us being rightfully afraid, we take the resolve to face the danger head on, and that is what keeps us going, right? And resolve is just a nice lyrical choice in the context of, right, resolving in the way of like untangling threads and whatnot. Connecting the fragments of causality, yeah, we had that. Strumming the tense thread. Now sing a song for an unyielding hope. We also had that. Even as it traces, even as it tangles, weave it now, weave the light, yeah. Third one. Like third line of that same. Connecting the fragments of causality, right? And now we just repeat the parts of the chorus. Melody paints dreams and illusions. I will weave the future. I thought so, right? We do have one last sentence, which is like, I will weave the future. Holy shit. Okay. Sorry about that. I just wanted to jump to the lyrics of the ED instead of just listening to it. So, oops. Let's actually go into it. Okay, let's listen to the ED. We've heard it for the first time a little while ago. We'll listen to it, then we analyze the visuals, and then we go into the lyrics. Easy. ReZero, MYTH ROID, NOX LUX apparently, starts now. Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, I still have like now. And we're going along the paths of the water and it's darkening. It's almost like blood, fire going up. And it sounds a little bit creepy, right, in the back. You have every character here. Love the flowers in the front. And we're like defocusing here. Dark clouds and it's getting dark. Blood coming off. And somebody's, like, a lot of people are dead. Dragon and fire. And we're opening the eyes. Serious. Why so serious? Lol. Alright. And him coming from the water? What the fuck? And bloodening the water? That is nasty. Both on the hilts of the swords. Alright, Regulus's eye seemingly attacking Subaru. And him being held up by all of these people. And yes, it's English. I didn't even notice that first. How do I not notice this? And we're running along again and the water surface is clear and everything is sunny. A light shining from it. And we do have that last part with like the map of the city, and the city is lit up in light, but it's divided by these shadows of like the window frame, which is very interesting. Like almost in 4 parts. Okay. Run it back, run it all the way back. We start out with the city, right? And another beautiful shot of the city, another shot of the city, not the same shot, which I absolutely appreciate to show this beautiful, beautiful city in every kind of shot you can, because it's amazing. It's amazing. Right, we zoom in, we do our thing. Water surface, right? We do have that again, and then it turns from like a normal grayish, it turns into like a brownish, blood red, right? Fire damage, basically, blood running, all of these things. And we do see like that dark, unnatural looking cloud in the middle of it. And then everything is kind of being fired up in particles that are kind of a little bit like what Sirius has conjured with her flames and whatnot. We do see the goofy people, Priscilla together with Liliana. That makes perfect sense, and she has taken such a liking to Liliana, and Al trying to let her not fall off the thing. And you have Krush and Phyllis and Wilhelm, interestingly enough, cut out by the frame, which is like, weird. What does that mean? What does that mean? Because that has intention in terms of the directing. We're in the shadow, basically. We are. I mean, it could kind of refer to Krush's memory loss and whatnot, but also it could mean more than that, right? Like weirdly cut off. It feels weird when somebody is cut off here, especially like it's different from being cut off here so that you don't see the eyes, because then it's clear that we're hiding the emotion of somebody or what somebody's paying attention to. But if it's cut off here, that's not even a weirder feeling, kind of. And Reinhardt and Felt are going towards that, right? Going towards that shelter, or also going towards that shadow or that roof that is cutting them off, but not in there. And then we switch the scene over. Anastasia Julius being on the inside, and Otto as well, having a little bit of fun. We have the cats running by. We have Amelia sitting, looking at the sky outside, the brightness outside there. She's in the light, basically. And we do have that flower bouquet that I really love. I don't know why, but the composition is really nice. Yeah, that's Mimi. Super coming from the flower bouquet, walking out towards Emilia, and then Emilia looking around, right? Looking back and being like, oh, hey, Subaru, how you doing? And she's smiling, and then we kind of, almost like the brightness of the sun is getting too bright, we're blotting it out, but also we're unfocusing, right? Like this concept of her turning around, greeting you, happy, is kind of diminishing, right? It's just like, it's fading for whatever reason. We do have like the beautiful flowers in the middle plaza, like in the holy shit, my voice. I feel it now. In the middle plaza, and the flowers are slowly wilting and they're bleeding suddenly, and then we go from the bleeding flowers over to the bleeding people, and people being absolutely devastated by the witch cult. We have the dragon steeped in fire, but we don't see much of it. We have Subaru, right? First out of focus, then in focus, then opening his eyes. Almost mimicking, right? If you're opening your eyes for the first time and it's like you haven't opened them in a while, you also have this like slightly out of focus effect for a split second before like everything comes into focus. We have Sirius, her smiling deviously, doing her theatrics, and then we have like a far away shot of Regulus, just like we're observing him from a helicopter or some shit. No idea what that means. We have this character that we haven't met yet being like perched up on the roof, almost like I mean these things that are on the side is like almost like they're bees or something, like she's a bee or something. Super weird, super weird. Looking very demonic, looking very like a monster or a gargoyle on top of like a building. We have the water surface revealing Gluttony supposedly cackling and like the whole water getting bloody as a result. So maybe Gluttony is somewhere like hidden and then reveals himself at an opportune time. We have Reinhardt, obviously, flashy blade, shining, whatever. The interesting thing is he has his blade in his hand. Reinhardt almost never has his blade in his hand. We do know that, like, in the capital in the beginning, when he wanted to draw his blade, he's like, unfortunately, I can't draw my blade. It doesn't want to be used because you're not worthy, telling that to Elsa. So something more threatening than Elsa must be there if he uses his blade. And Subaru clasping his whip, which he's already put to good use in this episode. And we're, like, interesting enough, we're creeping up on Regulus and then we're zooming around him. And he's realizing something, right? There's something in his eye where it's like, whatever is happening here. And we're going towards Subaru, right? Who is ready to fight. And Subaru's like, wait a minute, what the fuck? And then we have, like, I don't know what this is. It's maybe a person or whatever, but we do have that shape, and then we cut into the frame, right? Almost like we're ripping open a piece of paper, and we have, like, these violet, pinkish lines going on here, like almost like an actual cut at the person, like we're cutting Subaru or something, and blood is flying. And then what's happening is Subaru is shielding himself, right, in fear, in pain, in whatever. And he realizes that on the right side, I think that's Reinhardt's hand. We have Garfield's hand. We have... No, that was his own hand. We have Emilia's hand. We have Anastasia's hand. We have Otto's hand. We have, I think, almost... I don't know whose hand that actually is. Almost looks like Willem or Krush or something. We have Mimi's hand. Right, we have him holding Beako's hand, right? Yeah, that was Reinhardt popping him up. Right, who could that belong to? The kind of hand that we see, like the weird uniform hand. Because it's not Krush, it's not Felis, it's not Willem, he's all the way behind. It's not Fel, she doesn't have that kind of outfit. It could be Al, but I'm not sure. I don't think Al is wearing something like that, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure who that is, but he's stepping into the pool of blood, which is very interesting. First of all, like, these stripes almost makes it seem like he's on a pedestrian crosswalk, right? Or pedestrian walk. And also him stepping into the blood is like him facing the danger, right? Like being able to even step into the blood. And then we're going into the city as like a beautiful, beautiful sunny day city. And we're having the light shine in and be like, cleanse everything off, basically. And then we're looking at, I guess, a lot of magic crystals around and a feather and whatnot, but in the middle, like I said, we do have that. Yeah, light on the entire city, but there's darkness shattering over it and separating it almost. The darkness that comes from the window frame, but the window frame is only like a metaphor or whatever. All right, we're gonna jump into the lyrics of it, if the lyrics are there. I don't know if do we have like subtitles? Yeah, I think we have subtitles. We're gonna try it. MYTH ROID, NOX LUX with lyrics. 3, 2, 1. I said it already. I like this, like closing your eyes and whatnot. Alright, it's almost like ancient pharaoh stuff, I feel. And we have a lot of like, obviously this is a music video, so there's a lot of real life stuff here. And this is an eclipse. Connecting dots one by one. Shoulder to shoulder. Line to line, one by one. I'll give you my hands every time. Okay. The beacon of our hope. That is big. Reason to believe you. The birdcage, interesting. Ooh, that was weird. Faith in each other, we're ready to do whatever it takes. We unite when our lives ring out and become one sound. Ooh, oh, I love that. We unite when our lives ring out like we're a melody, right? And then become one sound. We are in unison, right? We are a harmony. We're a common goal. We will never stop. Wow, that's cool. That is lyrically really cool. Now together we weave our way. Weave again, like with the obviously same artist makes this. Would make sense that it's thematically connected. Keep our beliefs alive through disaster. Yeah, she's switching between Japanese and English, really cool. So let us unite. One wish trembles and spreads like a sound wave. Again, we have the sound wave stuff. Resonates inside me, now we gotta go, right? So the wish of somebody travels, right? You tell people about their wishes, you connect with people and put them out into the world, and the wish comes into that person and it resonates because there's something about that person that connects to that wish. And resonating means, right? Resonating means that a sound meets me and I start swinging at the same frequency. Maybe I got that wrong, but at least that's what I think. Shine a light into the dark, punishment for the sin, fun. If you wish for that world, get the courage for a fight. Yeah, I mean, yeah, makes sense. I will chase, I will trace where you are looking at. Never be afraid of your weakness. She thinks of your own weakness, not of your weakness, right? You will chase, you will trace where I'm looking at. When our hands touch, I'm convinced we have your and my strength, right? That connection through the hands that we keep empathizing in the show itself. Connecting dots one by one. Never let go. So together we'll fight. I will trust you. You got my back. I've decided to go with you. Feeling it every time I'll get your message through the eyes. Ooh, that's big too, right? We do have like the, right? Getting the message through the eyes. We have such a connection to eyes in the series, right? Where we do reflections in eyes and where we do have like people looking into each other's eyes and instinctually understanding one another, trusting one another. Don't even need the words to understand. Yeah, exactly. Betty and Subaru, this episode. Got a promise to keep. I will not give in, carrying only beliefs and vows, right? I have promises that I've made. I have vows I made to other people and myself. I have beliefs that I want to set into the world. Of course, the signature whisper, which we had in the ED of the, I think in the ED of the first of season 1, right? Wish you was there, or wish I was there, or whatever. We unite this time. I hear nothing but a heartbeat. It's interesting, like this focus on a heartbeat. The heartbeat, obviously, the heart connecting to emotions, and we do have. I only hear the heartbeat. There's something special about isolating a single sound and it being your guiding light, right? And that kind of being transferred metaphorically into the narrative of a show. Now let us not be afraid. We can change and look forward, looking for sunrise. Yeah. Morning of a new dawn. We've seen it in episode 1 where there was like that night of contemplative talk and whatever, and then we open to a sunrise next to the tower, which is like kind of almost a rays of hope, and we see it in the OP as well, right? The sun is coming in. And we see it in the ED as well. That is a theme. One wish trembling and spreading like a sound. The more tremors, the more the fervor burns. I would switch that around, but yeah. The more the sound tremors. And we use tremor, which is very interesting because tremor is something the earth has, and not like, I mean, yes, I guess the air can also tremor, but the air trembles, right? The air vibrates more and the earth tremors. But what we want to, I think what we want to express here is that the sound is so strong that the earth tremors, right? So you don't even need ears to hear it. You feel it. And that idea with fire, right? Burning, the fervor burns. I'm wishing for my friend, morning sunrise to you. It all becomes real. Get courage for a fight, yeah. It's still kind of these weird things. The only time I ever saw that was on that weird meme Vsauce thing. Interesting choice. But yeah, we do have a lot of surreal imagery, which feels very much in line with what ReZero is doing. And we repeat like, I wish for all. I've got you tied, right? You're not going anywhere. I got you. Take my hand and don't let go no matter what happens. We have again that imagery of tight hands clasping. Right? People being there for one another, and like physical contact is one of the main forms of like starting and maintaining a connection, right? Hugs, hand holding, stuff like that, right? Standing shoulder to shoulder. It's like it's giving you a feeling of strength and connectedness. Which is what this entire ED seems to be about. Very interesting that we keep having the birdcage here. I'll connect the thread as many times as it takes. Thread with the OP, right? We do have that direct connection with the OP. Let our trembling voices re-echo. The crystals that are brighter than anything else we have within us. Unite when our lives ring out and become one sound. Yep. With our common goal, we will never stop. Ooh. Turning, right? That's cool. That's a cool part of the video. Together we weave our way, keep our beliefs alive through disaster. One wish trembles and spreads like a sound wave. I do love that. As somebody who really loves music, it's really like it's powerful to hear lyrics that reference sound waves traveling, right? And how sounds resonate within oneself. That is a strong imagery. It's very interesting how she says that, the cadence with which she says that, right? The English, the courage for our fight. I do assume it's probably pre-learned, right? Pre-practiced, because a lot of these Japanese singers, they can't speak English. And they like to involve English because maybe they can speak a little bit right here and there, but they need to like practice that a lot more in comparison to how easy Japanese comes off the tongue. That would be that way for me as well if I wasn't so involved in the English language and right, just so active when it comes to like speaking English, talking English, writing English. Never be afraid of your own weakness. That's a really cool sentence, right? Like, we all have weaknesses. Don't be afraid of that, right? Work on that or find a way to compensate for it in order, right? By standing together, by being as one, basically. We cover each other's weaknesses, so to speak. You're on my strength. And yours, and yours, and yours, right? We'll believe, we'll trust, cause we know what is the most precious. Our bonds, our connections, right? You gotta go. You gotta take off. Eco. Yeah, I mean, powerful lyrics, powerful imagery in general. I really like that. I really, these OPs and EDs, I told you in my episode 1 reaction, they're gonna grow on me. And they are already growing on me. Now that I know the lyrics, now that I see some really cool visuals to go along with those. I mean, it's not on the same level as Undead to me from like Monogatari. It's not on the same level as some other stuff. For example, one thing I absolutely keep listening to that's always touching me emotionally is Grand Escape by Radwimps, right? From the song Weathering With You, which is like the song is so absolutely amazing, especially with like the chorus and the background singers and the harmony they create and everything. It's beautiful, beautiful. But yeah, this one is also, it's really growing on me, and it's very on topic, on theme. I love that. I love most of the ReZero OPs. I think my favorite probably is still Realize. I still love Memento as well. And I love the Emilia ED, which is Believe in You. Right? That is a very beautiful, beautiful ED. But yeah, that was my reaction and a little bit of an analysis on ReZero OP and ED of Season 3. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave me a like and subscribe to the channel. Check out my ReZero reactions, and I'll see you next time.